Is it too much to ask to just let me revive my buddy? Any time now, let's have a bit of a timeout, a bit of a ceasefire, a little bit of detente. For God's sakes, stop this shenanigans. Well, hello there, humans, hippies, earthlings, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and whoever you are lucky enough indeed to be doing it too. I'm Bushka, welcome back to the Pubg Mobile official channel, where today we will be breaking down the argument of the moment, the topic du jour, the G36c versus the M416. The G36c, the brand spanking new gun on vikendi, the 556 AR that takes the place of the Scar L there. And the M416, the long acknowledged and super versatile king of swing with the tactical stock. Now, a lot of people will tell you that the guns have different rates of fire and they do different damage and all that. That's incorrect. The guns have exactly the same base damage on a no vest wearing target of 40, like the Scar L, like the AUG A4, like the M16 A4. All these 556 ARs, the QBZ, they all have the same base damage. The thing that sets these two guns apart is recoil. Now, I will break down exactly why that is in just a wee short while, and I will talk to you about some of the stuff that you should be looking out for when running the guns. But I want to also talk primarily about, well, the gun that this is most often compared to, the G36c, which I think is kind of funny, is the UMP. And that's because it is laser-like. It sits on a target so carefully. But the crazy thing is, it's got much higher recoil numbers than either the M416 or the UMP9. And that's kind of nuts, because for a lot of people, they look at the G36c and they say, hey, there's no recoil, and that's nuts. It actually has the most recoil of any of the 556 ARs that fire in full automatic mode. And although it might feel a little bit like a UMP9 when you're firing it, and for comparison's sake, I will show you. This is the UMP9, and you're going to see how it sits very, very nicely as we lean around this corner and we chase down these targets. It doesn't really rise up very much, but that's because the UMP9 is a laser beam that doesn't really have any recoil. The G36c has an absolute buttload of recoil. For a 556 AR, it feels a lot more like a 7.62 AR. But the secret is in the direction the recoil goes. It goes straight up, and it goes straight up hard. Look at that very, very thin piece of wood that you can see there as I fire away and just hold the button down. Now, I'm not a big fan of these kind of tests, but this one was very instructive. You can see how it is going straight up this piece of wood with very, very little left or right deviation. And the 556 AR King, the M416, it has a much smaller recoil climb, but it is climbing left and right in very, very varied circumstances. Now, these are running exactly the same loadouts, and that is a compensator and a half grip, I think it was, on those ones. And the thing is, recoil with the M416 is not exactly tough to control, but recoil with the G36c is extraordinarily easy to control. Now, when both the guns fire at exactly the same rate, and that's with a 4x scope. I mean, and that 4x scope is set up for sniping. It is not set up for ADS spray. So, I mean, if you want to know all about what I'm talking about there, I've got a perfect sensitivity settings video on my channel. If you want to control recoil well, you need to set your recoil up perfectly. I've got also a movement masterclass I just dropped, so you can jump around like a clown like this and do very, very well. Now, recoil, the secret to recoil is that it is not hard to control vertical recoil. All you've got to do is pull down with your thumb. If you pull down, your gun will move down. And that is easy when you're dealing with vertical recoil. The issue with recoil comes when you get vertical combined with left and right, lateral recoil. And that is tough, because if your gun is also going up at the same time as it's going left, and then it suddenly jerks to the right, then you've got to move around a lot to compensate for that recoil. The G36c solves that problem by just going in one direction, and that allows you to have ridiculously accurate sprays at long range with 3x scopes or with red dots. I've had some amazing full auto sprays with a red dot in the G36c. I'm going to show a few of them in a wee short while. But this is so important because what that means is that you hit more with the gun. And the gun is exactly the same as the M416 in terms of damage and rate of fire. Exactly the same. And that means once you actually track a target, it is just incredible how easy it is to sit the gun down over the top of it. Unless, of course, they go hop behind a hill, in which case, it's very hard to hit them. Now, this is only really a question when you're on vikendi. Would you take a G36c or an M416? Well, the thing the M416 gets over the G36c is a tactical stock. And that does, in fact, help with your recoil and stability, and that's fine. But it doesn't help enough to mitigate the fact that this gun, the G36c, is just an absolute stone cold winner. I would take the M416 in pretty much every other situation because if you're not on vikendi, this gun is the most stable and easy to use AR in the game. The M416, fully kitted out, will just 9 times out of 10 beat the competition. But when you are on vikendi, you should be picking up the new monster because the new monster has a whole lot of teeth, especially with a red dot in close proximity. Look at how it doesn't climb above the edge of that wall. Now, I'm not really worried about the fact that I sprayed it everywhere. I want you to look at the way it doesn't climb. It doesn't climb at all. And this is despite the fact that it has way more vertical recoil than an M416. And the reason it doesn't climb at all is I've got perfect sensitivity settings. Again, I did a video on my channel where I explain the ADS sensitivity settings and everything like that. And I also have this wonderful feel for the gun now where I know how far I have to adjust on the way down. Look at how there is no freaking climb on this gun. It just stays low because once you start dragging your thumb down, all you have to worry about is that downward motion. You never have to worry about the alternating current that is left and right lateral recoil. You can just press the button and pull gently down. And if you do that, you are going to do crazy things. Watch this next red dot shot. It's just broken. It is absolutely broke. There is a guy over there. He's a long way away. Look at how little climb I'm getting with a red dot at like 170 meters. That is absolutely nuts. Now, the M416 can do similar things, but it can't do it as well. And while the M416 is a beautiful weapon and is, in my opinion, the best and most versatile AR in the game overall, if you are on vikendi, the G36 is the best go-to weapon. I hope that's outlined some of the... I mean, look at that red dot. He's behind a hill, so I had to hit him a lot of times because I could only see the top of him, and we still got the job done. If you are running either of these guns, the prime weapon, the prime attachments I would be using are a compensator, namely for your gun handling. That's the best muzzle attachment I find. And then I tend to run it with a half grip, but I mean, you could run the G36c with anything. You can literally run it with absolutely anything. As you can run the M416 with literally anything. The guns are so good and so balanced. And the 5.56 round does not jump and kick as much as a 7.62 round does. So when we're talking being better here, we're talking about percentages that are very, very small. Still, something has to be number one. And in terms of most versatile and best use 5.56 AR, that's this little monster here. The absolute rip-roaring terror that is the G36c. The hip-fire Hacienda is here. And I've got to tell you, I love playing vikendi quite simply because of this weapon. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. I am not saying the M416 is not a good gun. Do not be crazy. The M416 is in all these clips because I like using it. I didn't have to be convinced to fire an M416. Please subscribe to the channel. Please like the videos if you want to see more videos like this. There are plenty on my channel outlining recoil, sensitivity, ADS control, movement, everything. And that is youtube.com/thebushka. Until next time, stay safe on the battlefield. Bye for now.